I'm dealing with young, and I just kind of sit in front of this camera and then talk and decide what I'm going to talk about as I'm going. So if this doesn't seem like it's planned out, that's because it's not. Anyway, one of my concerns, and I think the concern of many people around the United States and the world, is all the unrest and the turmoil, the revolts, the rebellions, the protests, the riots that seem to be hitting virtually everywhere. Egypt, Tunisia, Yemen, Somalia, on and on and on. The economic plight that's being endured, I'm trying to think of the right word, endured so far by countries like Iceland and Greece, with a lot more on the horizon, that are going to be in trouble. Now, there was a time when globalization was supposed to be an advance. We would be trading with people all over the world, free trade, democracy, capitalism, and that sounded like a good idea. NAFTA, CAFTA, all the different things where countries traded more with each other, and there wasn't the protectionism that there was at different times in our history. Well, that interaction among the countries, that globalization, seems that it may have a downside. The downside being that each part interacts with the other. In other words, if the United States has economic problems, those problems affect Europe or Asia. And if Europe or Asia have problems economically because of globalization, it affects America, or at least that's so it seems. It's, I guess a good analogy would be, I don't know if I'm going to get this right, but a rising tide lifts all boats. Well, by the same token, a sinking tide takes all boats down, and that's what seems to be going on. I know that Obama is blaming Europe for our problems, and Europe is blaming America for their problems. So who's really at fault? Nah, I go back to that old adage that, we got to take responsibility for our own action, our own choices. So for me, I cannot blame America's problems on Europe or Asia or China or anyone else, although some would argue that China is taking advantage of the problems that America has, loaning us money, charging us interest. But, we have placed ourselves wherever we are, either because we allowed the Federal Reserve to just print money, we haven't kept up with what's going on in America. Most of us are satisfied just to watch these entertainment-oriented shows or things that are not really that educational. It's almost like most of the media is dumbing down America. And even if you want to get information, unless you're really trying hard, it's difficult. It's difficult to get information about what's really going on in the world and around the world and all the wars and the revolts and everything. We in America have a media filter that decides what's important, and things are important like congressman's wiener. I mean, every other thing is wiener this, wiener that. You know, and they're obsessed with it. There was a time when it was Gary Condit and Shonda Levy missing, and it was just constant, one thing or another. Or it's the murder of the little child in Florida. Which, yeah, those are news, and people are interested in it, but is it more entertainment or is it more informational, at least in terms upon what impacts our lives? Anyway, I just want to make a comment about these things, and I'm going to keep making comments about different things that I see and that I'm concerned about, and I'm going to try to give you a little bit more information as we go. I write, my name is D. Lindley Young, and I'm going to regularly provide these little, whatever they are, statements, reports, about different things that are going on that you may not get in the mainstream media. D. Lindley Young, signing off.